I'm Sergeant Alex Rosado. That's ALEX. Rosado is ROS. D is in David O. And I'm the Public Information Officer for the Arlington Police Department. We want to provide the community with an update on an officer-involved shooting that occurred last Sunday night at a city park at the 6500 block of South Cooper Street. Just after 10:30 p.m., officers responded to Red Kane Park to investigate a report of domestic disturbance between a man and a woman who were in a dating relationship. As officers were pulling up to the parking lot and exiting their patrol vehicles, the man displayed a handgun and fired multiple shots, striking the woman. The officers then immediately fired their service weapons, striking the man. Officers began providing first aid to the man and the woman until paramedics arrived on the scene. Both of them were transported to area hospitals. The man was later pronounced deceased. The Tarrant County Medical Examiner's Office has since identified him as 42-year-old Shannon Boyd of Irving, Texas. The woman, who is 40 years old, sustained multiple gunshot wounds and is currently listed in critical condition. Thankfully, we're told, however, she is alert and breathing. No officers were hurt. As is standard, anytime an officer fires their weapon, there are now two investigations taking place. The first is a criminal investigation led by our homicide unit. The second is an administrative investigation led by our internal affairs unit, which will determine if officers followed department policies and procedures during this incident. Per department policy, the officers have been placed on paid administrative leave. And with that, I'll open it up for questions.
So you can walk me through again the instance before they fired, or before the gentleman was fired on. Did he present his weapon at the officers as well, or did he just fire on the woman?
So it's unclear exactly at this time. What I can tell you is that as soon as the officers arrived on scene, the suspect immediately began firing at the woman.
If you could tell me more about who called 911. Was it the woman, or was it a bystander? Where did the 911 call come from?
I don't have that exact details at this time of who exactly called 911, but it was reported that there was an incident going on at the park in which we responded to it.
Can you tell us these were new officers, experienced officers?
It's a mix of officers, I can tell you that, with varying degrees of tenure in the department.
How many of them are on leave? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
There is 3 currently on paid administrative leave. And I believe there may be a 4th as well who did not fire their weapon, but that may be on leave too, but for sure 3.
So just to clarify, 3 people did fire, 3 officers did fire?
That's correct.
Do we know how many times the woman was hit?
That is still part of the investigation. I can tell you that it was more than once.
As far as body cam, dash cam, what type of video are we talking about related to this case?
So we do have dash cam and body camera. Once we review the relevant portions of it, the investigators review the relevant portions, we will release that out to you guys as soon as we can.
Have there been any past interactions with Mr. Boyd?
With the Arlington Police Department, I don't think so. They are from Irving, so we do believe there is a history of domestic violence. We're still working with our partner agencies to figure out exactly what the scope is between the two, but he does have a history, yes, sir.
Any information on what they were arguing about? Motive and anything like that?
I don't have any information on a motive at this time.
Did you say what time this all occurred?
Yes, it occurred about 10, I believe it was 10:34 when we got the call, and it was almost instantaneous when officers arrived at the park.
Now, this is the city park. Was it opened at the time, or closed, or what was the state of the park?
Generally, our parks close at 10 p.m. I'm not for sure. You know, some parks have different hours. I'm not sure this particular park if it was open at the time, but generally speaking, the parks do close at 10 p.m.
Was this in a parking lot, a gazebo? What area of the park was this?
It was near a parking lot inside the park. And it will be very clear once we release the video to you guys, kind of exactly what happened.
I know the investigation is ongoing, but do we have any indication of how many times the officers fired?
No, not at this time.
What's next?
Well, like I said, there's 2 investigations occurring at the same time, the criminal investigation and the internal affairs investigation. So once those investigators are comfortable in reviewing, like right now we're reviewing timelines, trying to figure out what they were doing beforehand, what perhaps the motive was. We're continuing that investigation along with our internal affairs investigation to determine whether those policies were being followed. Once we are able to, we will release the body-worn footage as well as the vehicle footage to kind of better tell the story.
Can you tell us if there were any weapons recovered, any drugs involved, and if the suspect or victim's vehicles were towed in? Is that part of the case?
So we did recover a weapon on the scene. We're working to determine how that gun was obtained, whether it was purchased legally or not. There were vehicles on the scene. I'm not sure at this time whether or not they were towed for the investigation, but we did recover a weapon.
Were they the
Any
only
drugs
people
involved?
I'm sorry, to my knowledge, I don't have any information about drugs being involved.
Alcohol?
I'm not sure.
Were they the only people in the park at the time that you know of?
I'm not sure about that. It's a pretty big park, so it'd be hard to say whether or not they were the only ones in the park at that time.
You have a message for people who would hear about this. I think at the last one of these, we talked about, like, it takes a toll on officers. Every time there's an officer involved, it takes a toll on the entire department. Like, what would you want the average person to hear about this, saying that you guys are always gonna respond to calls?
Yeah, I mean, domestic violence calls are some of the most dangerous calls that we respond to. You know, they could be very unpredictable, especially in this case where someone immediately starts shooting. It could be very alarming. So we train for this, we prepare for this, but we're still human beings, and it's a very alarming call to respond to. So it does certainly take a toll. We do have peer support available for the officers and for other first responders, and we are utilizing those services for them. But you're right, it certainly takes a toll on us, and we're human beings. We certainly get scared just like everybody else, but we have a job to do, and it's to protect our community members, and that's what the officers did here last night.
I'm not familiar with the lay of the land of this park. Is there any cameras, public cameras, or police cameras in this area? Did you guys canvass the neighborhood for any ring video by chance?
I don't know the answer to your question about whether or not there are cameras inside the park. As far as ring cameras and things like that from area homes, it just based on where this occurred in the park, I don't think that's going to be very likely. What we do have is the video from the vehicles, the officers' vehicles, and their body-worn cameras. We do have that.
Do we know if the victim lived with the suspect?
That's unclear at this time.
And have your detectives been able to talk with the woman that was injured?
I'm not sure. This is all very preliminary. As you know, this occurred at about 10:30 last night. We responded and immediately began working our investigation, but ultimately her health and safety comes first. So we allowed the medical staff to work on her and treat her before we'll start asking her any questions. But thankfully what we were told is that she is alert. But I don't know to what extent, whether she had to go to surgery. We're going to allow them to tell us when she's ready.
She's expected to survive at this point.
At this point, yes.
And you said potentially four officers are on leave. What's the impact of that on the department? You guys don't have three to four bodies in the field now.
Yeah, you know, staffing is an issue in policing nationwide, and we're certainly not immune to that issue. But we have a very robust police department, and I think we're able to handle it with the extra people that we have here in the department. So yes, it certainly does have an impact, but we will make adjustments and ensure the community is safe no matter what happens. We will have the proper staffing and officers available when people need to call 911.
Time for one more question.
Do you know if, when the officer responded, were they made aware of a weapon possibly already ahead of time, or?
I do believe they were aware that there was a possibility of a weapon, but to the exact details, I'm not sure of that just yet.